Hey, what's up, guys? This is Russell Babbitt here with, as far as I can tell, episode 14. And I have got Aurturios Augustus. We're going to speak a bit about flat Earth and a good bit about the Jesuits and their deceptive history. So, Arturius, how you doing today?
Good morning, my man. I'm enjoying the weather here in California. It's nice, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, other than the crazy martial law lockdown tip that they got going on all of us.
No, it's garbage, but I'm out there on the streets anyway, and it's amazing because nobody's out there. I love it, you know. Lockdown, time to go out, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm walking around, riding my bike, taking a drive, and it's just beautiful right now. So while they're telling people not to go outside, this is the time to go outside.
Absolutely. What? So, what I'm going to ask you? What do you think about COVID? Either what's causing it or what they're rolling out with it. And I'm going to go grab some apple juice. I'm real quick because my blood sugar's low. But you go ahead, unpack that.
Of course, so everybody out there in Radio Land, this is my opinion, dialect as it is. This is just a lay opinion. It's we're dealing with the flu. I was curious. I was looking it up the other day. How many people die of cancer, AIDS? You know, like how people die of diseases every day. And there are plenty of diseases that scare the hell out of me, but scary. You know, I'm not easily timid. But we're not having a lockdown over AIDS or HIV, like a real virus, one that does not have a 98% survival rate. Now, of course, you got to understand this is all secondhand information that we get, which everything is secondhand, a priori information. Therefore, it's, you know, suspect, right? So, what do I really know? What do I really know is that everyone in the world seems fine except when I get on the news. And I don't know. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's fake. I'm saying probably flew out there, but don't be down with the hype. I don't know.
For sure. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. That's an old hip hop song, I think.
Yeah, back when hip hop was good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now it's honestly what I see is there's a weaponized homosexualization of culture and of music. And I don't care. I honestly don't care. I'm from Seattle, man. I love gay people. Gay people are chill. That being said, the older gay people will tell me that they see the same thing. You know, they'll see rappers wearing dresses and they're like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. Like, see, everything I say is, you know, in my own opinion.
The show is called As Far As I Can Tell. It's as far as we can tell.
They've been poisoning the food for so long. Now, listen up, people. This is like, think about it. It makes sense. They put pesticides on the food. I remember in 1994, 6, when I was in grade school, I remember them hearing on Pod 106.5 about them considering genetically modifying the food, and I thought it was a bad idea back then. I was, you know, in grade school. It just didn't sound right. My point is, they're tampering with our food. It is becoming very mutagenic. So the food, that's a term. Carcinogenic is a term you might be more familiar with. So the food we're eating every day, you're feeding your kids. Oh, I love my kids. We're going to McDonald's today to eat some carcinogenic, mutagenic food. So you eat this stuff all day, every day, and what's going to happen is you're going to mutate your cells. So when you reproduce, you know, you got these mutated cells, you know, forming new people, and then they come out with their hormones on this stuff, and that's what homosexuality and transgenderism is. It's a male body with penis that makes a male, and it comes out with messed up hormones. So you got a male body with female hormones because of what we eat, and so more and more it's going on, and until we fix the problem, you know what I'm saying.
Right. So was this going on, like, because I think since the dawn of time, there's been homosexuals, and there was a certain percent of human population
Yeah,
that's just gay, and has this turned it into a far larger percentage?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I consider that there's always been gays since before the Messiah, Jesus, whatever. But I just want to say I really like being on this private broadcast because when I was doing the KXPS thing, really, really censored about what I could say. But I said it anyway. But anyways, so yeah. So the number of gays is exponentially. You can exponentially means the more there is, the more there's going to be. Yeah, it's a term. If you don't know what it means, look it up. It's
Right.
the number of gay people, transgender, homosexual has increased exponentially, and it's because of something, right? People want to say, well, it's like autism. Same thing. Same thing. Caused from the food, caused from mutation. Now, I believe in a flat Earth and a creator, because if you have a container, it begs the question of creator. So what I'm saying is, what happened in the Bible when the creator did that whole ethnic cleansing of the Canaanites and Jebusites and parasites, that's because their DNA was corrupt. But
Well,
anyways, that's a whole nother day and a whole nother topic.
they were Nephilim. They were Nephilim, is what I think. I mean, because isn't that Canaan was the land where there was a lot of the fallen angels who'd go and settle with?
Absolutely, my man, and you hit it right on the head. But so many people only know what they were taught, and they just, they don't understand it. So in Genesis chapter 6, Rob Skiba, look that guy up. He's one of my favorite podcast dudes.
Oh, he's legit.
He does Genesis chapter 6 project, or what does he call it? Yeah, the fallen ones came down and they raped the earth women. But I'm not talking aliens, I'm talking celestial beings from the realm.
Right.
300 miles above our heads. Dude, this sounds so science fiction.
Dude, it sounds like if they would make
I'm listening to myself.
if they would make a legit flat Earth movie using facts, but it was fiction, and it was a great story about these angels, these celestial beings, divine beings coming down and raping women, and then what happened after that, and they would show the firmament in this thing, that would be the dopest sci-fi movie ever.
No, absolutely. Right, but it'd have way more truth than Apollo 11. But the thing is, those who control the information won't ever let that happen.
No, sir. No, sir. So here, we got some good flat Earth questions here. So,
Bring it.
Aurturios, why is there a firmament? So, is it so we can't get to the heavens? Like, what do you think is up there?
Well, I mean, and why is there a firmament? Well, the Creator made heavens and the earth for the firmament for whatever reason. There's probably an answer to that. I got to do more investigation.
Yeah.
The only thing I know is I don't know. That's all I know. So I'm always trying to learn. Meanwhile, all these other people, they know things because we went from the age of philosophers into the age of science. And when we moved on into that age of science, we began to know things. And as soon as we started knowing things, we stopped questioning things. Like, it became a really technocratic society all over the world. Like, no, I learned this in school, so it must be true. So don't question it. How dare you say the earth is flat? We know it's a ball. Like, people don't understand what knowledge is philosophically. I'm not saying I know everything, but I'm saying I love to learn. And so firmament, as far as firmament goes, it's there separating the spiritual realm above from the physical realm. As far as I know, in my opinion.
Right, and we don't know why it's there, but that's what I think. That's what I agree that it's there as a hard fast barrier because the creator made it. The creator wanted it that way. I'm not sure why the creator wanted it that way, but whoever made, like when people talk about the Big Bang, this is my question always. I go, okay, so what you're saying is the universe is a balloon and something blew it up. And I'm like, have you ever seen a balloon blow itself up? Like, who blew it up? Who's
Yeah, they just keep making shit up, dude. Like the moon is in Earth's atmosphere now. Like NASA said that. I think. It's like they just keep making shit up. Like time goes by now, like I don't know. At one point they're like, yeah, there's planets out there, but some of them are just made of gas. I'm like, what? So they're just making shit up now. But well, it's made of gas, but it's a small sun that never ignited. Like, God, like really. But I mean, before I was, I was part of the world, and I just believed everything that I was told to. But I was in a car wreck and had a severe head trauma, stroke, all that stuff. And so when I woke up from that coma, I was like a baby, dude, like just in a grown man's body. So I was going on grabbing women's asses and doing stupid things.
Yeah.
I literally had to relearn everything. You see it on my Facebook pictures, some of them. But as I began to relearn everything in a grown body, right, it's crazy. I was like, my brain was fully developed, and I was like, so I had the ability to question shit, like, dude, that doesn't make sense. So I was in a philosophy class in 2008, with severe head trauma, and I was trying to recover from it, still trying to recover. But my teacher, Mr. Bigot, you can't make that at adult college. Like this is a French dude, Mr. Big Go, was a philosophy teacher. And the first thing there was epistemology, three main branches of philosophy. And he's like, so what do you know?
The study of knowledge. The study of knowledge.
Yeah. And so he impugned the class his integrity by asking us what we knew. And then we, of course, got uptight. Like, I know things. Of course I know things. How dare you say that, right? He's like, what do you know? I started asking us questions. And the one question that stood out to me was, because you're so retarded, was, what's the shape of the earth? And everyone's like, duh, a ball, right? No one ever even heard of flat earth, I thought. It was like 2008. And so, everyone's like, well, he's like, how do you know the earth is a ball? And everyone's like, duh. Aristotle, all these flat earthers, all these ball earth guys.
All these Jesuits. We know because the Jesuits told us.
Yeah, and by the way, my brother's his dad is a black guy, so I think he's 32 Freemason, but it turns out Freemasons and Jesuits are like holding hands, married ones, same type thing. But so what was I saying? Philosophy class, so Mr. Bigot, was talking about what do we know, and like I was saying, I was hurt and I didn't know anything. My brain had been empty of everything. If you ever seen that movie Legends of the Fall, where Brad Pitt's dad had a stroke, it was kind of like that. But anyways,
I had a traumatic brain injury where it affected my memory, so I know what it's like. People show you pictures. And they're like, hey, remember that one time? And you're like, nah, I was not there. You must be mistaken. And they're like, no, dude, here's a picture of this, and you were there.
Yeah, you just literally got to relearn stuff.
So was being a child in your mind, did that help you to learn things like a child does with an open heart and an open mind?
Well, that's exactly what I was. So I'm head injury, like 65 mile an hour head on collision, 2.5 ton trucks. Got hurt really bad. So when I'm out there in the world, I'm trying to relearn everything. Of course, I'm a person. I think I know everything already. I don't know everything. That's the whole point of this. So I'm doing this philosophy class, learning about knowledge. And so I'm learning for the first time in my life that I tasted flat Earth, just because he said, "Well, did you know there's people who actually believe the Earth is flat?" And everyone was like, the whole class, "Oh my gosh, that is so stupid! We're retarded people." And I was like that too. I was like, dumbasses. I was dumbass because it's flat. So years later, man, I'm sitting in front of a computer, for the first time, like 2011. No, it was 2015 when I got out of prison. But anyways, that's another story. So I'm in front of the computer and I type in, why do people think the Earth is flat? And what comes up? Jeranism, Rob Skiba, that one guy, the shill, got his name.
Oh, Eric Dubay.
Not Eric Dubay, but I like Eric Dubay. He's one of my favorites. But what's his name? He's a real big flat Earth guy.
Mark Sargent?
Mark Sargent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mark Sargent. And I was like, really? So I looked into it, with an open mind, and then a couple hours later, a day later, I was like Neo,
Dude, whoa. I did the same thing. Like, I watched Flat Earth Clues, and when I was done, I was taken aback. I was like, but how? No. And then about 3 hours later, I was like, you know what, dude? As far as I can tell, it's fucking flat. This doesn't make any sense any other way.
Yeah. So how old were you, man, when you first started checking that out? You look about 22 now.
No, I'm 34. But I was, that would be like 20, wait, no. It would be like 29, yeah.
Yeah, it just blows me away, man, like the health, the shape of the Earth, it's like, if only they would have taught me this stuff when I was younger. But, it's not like I said, those who control the flow of information, the Jesuits. Can I say it?
Yeah, no, you can say, we can say Jesuits as much as we want. We just can't talk about the bad guys without calling them the bad guys or the people over there. The people over there.
Oh, the Who's.
Yeah.
Who's the bad guy? I don't know.
Horton, here's a who.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, by the way, that's a Flat Earth book.
Is it?
Oh yeah, I've seen the film. Adam Jim Carrey did the movie Horton Hears a Who. It's totally Flat Earth about the little things I live on a speck. And that's such a Flat Earth movie. Like the kids love it and I love it.
I'm gonna have to see that, dude. So why do they do the fakes with such horrible CGI? Like, why are there so many mistakes? Are they mocking us or doing revelation of the method? Or are they that fucking stupid?
If you're asking me, I don't know. But what I think is, people are lazy. They just think we're that stupid, and we were that stupid. And it worked for years, decades. The whole moon landing thing. People challenge me to go back and look at that. Back when I was asleep, and I didn't see it. Man, I woke up and I looked at it again. I was like, oh God, that was retarded. I don't know. I think they really believe people are that stupid, but people are waking up now. We've entered a new age, from the age of Aquarius to the age of Pisces, but or whatever, however that goes. But yeah, we entered a whole new age, a whole new era, a whole new 2,000-year period from back then, right? Because I don't know. I'm bringing up topics for whole segments in themselves. But like I said, it's just we're just starting off, breaking the ice. So dipping with everything. Yeah, so we're in a whole new era. So it's probably gonna be a little harder to fool people now. Because people back then were stupid.
Yeah, that's...
Of course, I don't mean...
Right, but they had a more like limited understanding, the common
Yeah,
man of science and engineering that was more specialized. Now they
yeah,
can use Google. It's all on the table. So
yeah.
why and do you know, can we prove out refraction, like that it is or isn't occurring using optical analysis when they show us the super long distance photos and they say this is a mirage? Can
Oh
we
yeah,
can we
yeah. I like
disprove
that
it?
question. Because before this, they'd say superior mirage is a super rare thing, really, because they called it a superior mirage because they're doing this a lot of years ago. Like, why do I see that thing way far away? And they said that's superior mirage and it's a rare occurrence, and it happens. But we see it all the time. Every like it's rare for not to happen. These really well developed humans we have. So I think the best way to defend against that is saying that no, it's if it's a rare occurrence and how can we see it all the time? Unless it's not a rare occurrence and you're lying to us about that. So where are you lying? So I don't know.
We
But
see it every time. Every time that somebody tries to take a long distance photo where it's clear enough that they could, then we're seeing a superior mirage. What they're saying to us is this thing's super rare, but every time you try to take a photo to prove out that the earth is flat, then you're seeing one.
yeah, it's ridiculous. But there's that video of the newscast on Lake Michigan. They're looking at the Chicago skyline from across the lake, and yeah, that was what I was talking about when they said, well, what we see here is a superior mirage because, normally you can't see a distance that far. And, yeah, you see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What you
So
do now with the technology we have.
yeah, how many people do you think, or just would you guess, know that the Earth is flat? Like as far as we can tell, how do you think it's like even a percentage of? I mean, I imagine it's 1%, but I think it could be more than that. It could be like 10% because religious people, many kind of know that.
Well, we're in America, and what I found out, man, from talking to people is we're really sheltered in America. Everything I know is really sheltered. They tell us what to think about other cultures and what other people think. So, as far as people around the world, I have no idea. But I met a couple of people, like this black dude. I was walking in the liquor store, and he just had a flat earth sign on me. He was all flat earth, man. And I was like, wow, they're really out there. Like I thought you guys were only on the internet. I didn't think I did. And then my friend Frank, I was at the Seventh Day Church, because I like to go to church on the Sabbath.
For
And
sure.
when I first met him, Frank dude, this cool dude, like he was showing me some religious stuff. He was showing me some pastors preaching. I was like, hey, you want to see something interesting? I was like, I know this pastor, Rob Skiba. You ever heard of him? And he looked at me and he's like, oh, you're not a flat earther, are you? And then so we just kicked it off right away. But so my point is, I met a couple in real life just here in Stockton. So I mean, there's got to be millions of them out there, at least in the whole world.
Right. And I've only met like two or three, but then online, I figure if I'm friends with like about 2,500 or 3,000 people that are flat
Yeah,
earthers, that there has to be, but it's not easy for me to talk about flat earth to somebody. Oftentimes I just get discouraged and I'm like, they wouldn't even give it a fair shot. So I try to just do it on the podcast, or if I think it's a good idea. But I do see people out there that are banging the flat Earth drum a lot harder than me, and I want to thank you guys because you got balls, and it's that it seems like that's the only way to really wake people up is just tell everybody we meet.
Yeah, you tell them enough, and then they're eventually gonna start thinking about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like to be blunt, in people's face because there's people with different methods. Like they just plant a little seed here, plant a little seed there, and that works. That's what happened to me. A little seed got planted, and years later, man, I thought about it and I found answers. But I don't know. After I got hurt, my man, and then that car wreck, just people really pissed me off. So I like to be in your face, like, dude, you're fucking wrong. You have no idea. Turns
Just
out I'm not the idiot. You are, type thing.
right. Just be honest with them. That's smart. So I'm gonna try to do that more in the future. So get ready, people of Central Washington. You're about to be hearing about some flat Earth shit. So I've got a bunch of quotes about the Jesuits here, and while the Jesuits are, we can pretty much hash out that they almost made up and did all the proofs for the heliocentric theory.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Which is hard to prove to people because, if you don't got the paper right there in front of them, they're like, well, anything on the internet can be, just tell if I hear you.
Yeah, and so people are they handle the intellectual side of that religious mafia, and then the people over there they handle the monetary side, and together they have it all sewn up. It's these guys are I think they're the most dastardly people that I've ever heard of or looked at on plain Earth. Excuse me, guys. Don't call me a Mason because I said that.
Yeah. I did all the time on planet Earth. It's just forced to have it.
Yeah. So.
Hey guys, I was thinking about it, and yeah, living on. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so we got John Adams, the second president of the United States. And the presidents of the US seemed to previously be able to speak about this. He said, "My history of the Jesuits is not eloquently written, but it is supported by unquestionable authorities and is very particular and very horrible. The Jesuit order's restoration in 1814 by Pope Pius VII is indeed a step toward darkness, cruelty, despotism, and death. I do not like the appearance of the Jesuits. If ever there was a body of men who merited eternal damnation on earth and in hell, it is this society of Ignatius D. Loyola."
Yeah, and I would like, Christian people out there, a lot of my Christian friends and family.
Yeah.
Because, I know some people are like, I'm Christian, Art, but I'm going to do the least I can do to get the most I can get. Like, just do the least research, I don't know. I mean, my point, you can't tell people this because they don't want to believe it.
We're not pointing at the Messiah or the your or our or anybody's relationship with the Creator or with Yahweh or Jesus. We're pointing at some people that are particularly despicable and have done things in the name of God or Jesus. So know that we're on your side, despite what anybody might believe exactly about that God. We're trying to stand up for people's right to have their religion, their peaceful religion, not be co-opted by tyrants.
Those people, man, like the people out there, man, that's really, really beautiful, intelligent people. Just occasionally, man, there's some people who just don't want to hear it. It drives me nuts. Like, man, they don't want to believe they're oppressed. They don't want to believe, that whole thing, you've heard it. There's no such thing as conspiracies, Art. It's all made up. It's all in your head. And I used to believe that too, one time.
The coincidence theorists. That's what they're saying. I'm a coincidence theorist. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're wrong. Which is far more. Conspiracy is when one or more people gets together, or it might be two or more, and they discuss committing a crime in the future. And that makes sense. Coincidence it's unprovable. I mean, yeah, people just think that it's more likely that this shit would all be unrelated and just so happen.
Hey, Gabby, our food is poison. It's coincidence. It just happened. They're not doing that on purpose. Oops. Like, food's poisonous. Oh well.
Right, they're trying to help us, but the smartest engineers and scientists in the world, they just made some mistakes. Like, so we got now. This is one of my favorite ones because this really shows you what's up with these guys. We got Adolf Hitler, and whatever you guys think about him is unrelated, but I'll just say that there was a lot of lies told about that man. That's been my experience after extensive research, and I'm not at liberty to go farther than that. I'm going to start a BitChute channel where I can talk more about this. But Hitler said, "I have learnt most of all from the Jesuit order. So far, there has been nothing more imposing on earth than the hierarchical organization of the Catholic Church. A good part of that organization I have transported direct to my own party. The Catholic Church must be held up as an example. I will tell you a secret. I am founding an order. In Himmler, who would become head of the Nazi Party, I see our Ignatius de Loyola." What? How is this not taught to everybody? Why do we hate this guy, and then we hold the Jesuits up as these masters of academia?
Or why do we hate Hitler? Why is this guy vilified so hard? But the Communist Party, Stalin, oh yeah, Stalin, But dude, that was like one of the most murderous people ever, and just no opinion about him.
He might have been the most murderous.
God, most horrible person in the world. And by the way, to fit in with everyone out there in Radio Land, I don't like Hitler. He's a horrible, evil person. Because if I don't agree with everybody, I'm the bad guy, right? So, my point is, I think, you said it too, or somebody said it, if somebody is so vilified so much, what did they do right? Yeah.
Right, you catch the most flack when you're right over the target, and clearly he was a fascist dictator, but he was outright about it, and I find that he was doing it covertly, I'm sure as well, but he was legislating his opinion like fascists do. It's just that in America we wear uglier looking suits and clothes, and
the Nazis really did have a really good apparel.
Hugo Boss made the SS uniforms.
Oh, his hands, no wonder.
Yeah, but it's what it comes down to is that somebody that has been demonized so much, and if he is that demonic, why is it that he said, "I patterned my whole order after the Jesuits," and why is this not talked about in history class when we're talking about how World War II came about? Why don't we say, "Oh yeah, Hitler also said that the entire order was patterned after the Jesuits"? Well, I know why. I know why, but so we got Napoleon, Emperor of the French. The Jesuits.
Was he really vilified lied too? Didn't they like break him down really bad, like an evil guy?
Right. Absolutely. And the thing is, we just don't know. He's the one who said history is written by the victor. So
Yeah.
the Jesuits are a military organization, not a religious order. Their chief is a general of an army, not the mere father abbot of a monastery. And the aim of this organization is power, power in its most despotic exercise, absolute power, universal power, power to control the world by the volition of a single man. Jesuitism is the most absolute of despotisms, and at the same time the greatest and most enormous of abuses.
Yeah. When I was, younger years ago, I was really digging into the whole religious thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I stumbled on these books by Jack Chick and Alexander Hislop, and they really really painted a clear picture about how Catholicism is a new and improved, updated version of Babylon religion, worshiping Ishtar and a Tammuz, and so it makes sense that we got this super paganized Babylon religion under the guise of Christianity. We call it Catholicism. And I met Catholics who were like, yeah, I practice Catholicism because it's the oldest religion in the world. And I've heard that a couple. And I never understood that. Like, what do you mean it's the oldest religion in the world? Blah blah blah. Constantine, third century, whatever. But so yeah, it's a sun worshipping, SUNSON, whatever, sun worshipping pagan religion. That
What does despotism mean? Do you know?
I some words I don't pay attention to. And that word I never.
But I mean, we get the general, because I know a despot is like a powerful, like negative leader. I don't know what it means, but I know it means bad, and I know it has to do with leadership.
Well, we got Google, so
Are you gonna look it up? You got it?
yeah, the exercise of absolute power, especially in a cruel and oppressive way.
That sounds like them. Um, let's see. Oh, this
Well,
is
can I say something positive about the Jews? Well, not positive, but not negative.
for sure, dude. I'm a Jew. I'll take the praise.
Catholics, the Inquisition of Torquemada, the whole thing. But they killed all the Jews. They really killed the Jews. But anyways, I haven't thought about that. But then my point is, Catholics are they're the bad guy. You need your point. You need to point your finger at somebody and say that's the bad guy. Point your finger at them.
Oh yeah, they're the end of the line. Wherever the Jesuits or wherever the Catholic Church came from, which, like you said, it's a Babylon religion. They seem to like, and there's back rooms behind the back rooms, and I imagine in a very back room there's some type of like Satan archetype or a negative being or entity that has a lot of power. But as far as we can tell, if you look super deep into any conspiracy, there's all roads lead to Rome. I've I've found that. I've tried to find ones that point at other people, and then I find some that definitely point at people over there. But then I find if I look and I trace back where this all came from, it's almost always a piece of Jesuit deception or a Jesuit plan.
Yeah, there's some books out there I never got around to reading. Maybe you checked out like the Last Will and Testament of John Cecil Rhodes, you
Mm-mm.
know, Albert Pike's books. But these people like to write down their ideas. They're really bad ideas. Yeah, I think that some people should look into if they're interested in learning more because what we're doing is we're just shotgunning things out there, boom, 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 spraying it, which is good. Hopefully, any listeners will take something away and go investigate themselves because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely, yeah. And I have trouble reading books. I have a really short attention span, but I try to take away like the salient parts, like the main important parts, and kind of sum them up. But the people, the guests I have on my show, and also just other people, researchers that I meet, they're so much better with the details. They got a ton of details. So I hope on the show that people who are watching this that are able or better at doing research than me get those points, and then I hope it's interesting to you, and I try to say things that are accurate. So I encourage people to go look into them because I'll watch a 2 hour podcast and I'll only get like 2 points out of it. But those are the most important ones. I generally know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, but yeah, it's up to people, man. Just choose to learn, because as far as I'm concerned, there's smart people, there's rich people, there's poor people, there's dumb people. But levels of playing field out for all people is that we all have the ability to learn. So yeah, you don't want to make the most of that, then it's all bad on you.
So you make your own bed, you sleep in it, baby.
Yeah.
So we've got here some quotes pertaining to the United States of America, which is it. It's what they've done to the U.S. We have tons. You have the second president of the United States is telling you these guys are the worst tyrants there is. But then we've got a gentleman named French statesman and general Marquis de Lafayette. He served in the American Continental Army under the command of General George Washington during the American Revolutionary War. He said, "It is my opinion that if the liberties of this country, the United States of America, are destroyed, it will be by the subtlety of the Roman Catholic Jesuit priests, for they are the most crafty, dangerous enemies to civil and religious liberty. They have instigated most of the wars in Europe." Now, I don't know the exact history of these wars they instigated, but I could see that happening, and I do know that they've profited a lot from different wars. Do you know
Yeah.
much about this?
Well, I mean, what you said, the only thing that comes to my mind is Napoleon. Napoleon Wars, that's about all I can really think about when it comes to Jesuits.
Was that because the Rothschilds are loaning their money? Uh, like, because they were papal court Jews, and then, because I've heard the Rothschilds made a huge bet on the war. And
No, I was hearing about that, but as far as I know, the Rothschilds only gained momentum and wealth during and right after World War II. The Red Shields. But yeah, as far as I know, the Rothschilds weren't exactly established back in the Napoleon days. But yeah, there's a lot of families already that existed. Money changers. You ever see that video about the money changers?
oh yeah, it's a lot of it is it's not, is it the Knights of Malta that are like the Knights Templar are the bankers.
Yeah, and it's disgusting, man. Just if it works, people don't care how it works as long as it works. And the system, it's good enough. There's a book I was reading about Good Enough. They wrote a whole book on it. Good enough. What is good enough? If you have a task, it needs to be completed. What is good enough? it's not completely completed. Where did this term "good enough" come in? But yeah, if the system's good enough, people they just don't care. And right now, people, they get their fast food, they get their, they get what they need. It's good enough.
Right, and it's the disgusting thing is that people like okay, if you accept that for yourself, that's sad. That's disgusting. But the really sickening thing is when you accept that for your children. When you say, "Well,
Yeah,
this is good enough. I guess we can't change it, so we should just enjoy it and teach them to settle for less. Teach them it's
yeah.
okay for this."
So man, when I was younger, I was joining the military. I was trying to get my feet off the ground, trying to do things, make a difference. But I got hurt. So right now the only thing I can really do is just sit around and bitch about it. I'm a little bit on it. So I'm doing my part.
Yeah, dude. So I mean, so am I. That's like when it comes to truth like this, that's not easily palatable. All you can truly do is sit around and open your mouth about it. Even if you try to be super positive about it, all you're doing is bitching.
Yeah,
It's just dressed up because this is not positive stuff. You can't frame it in a way where the average person is going to go, "Oh yeah, okay."
that made me feel good. No, I've had people like, "You're so negative, Bart. Why do you have to be like, shut up? You're the reason why the world's such a bad place."
Right, you're the reason I'm bitching is that you see this as negative and not liberating. Like, not everything is supposed to feel good. Not everything is supposed to make you well up with satisfaction and happiness. There's some things we should be passionately, justifiably, righteously upset
Yeah,
about.
absolutely. The scriptures say, you're gonna have troubles in the world. It's gonna be hardship, and some, like what was it? The Buddhist somebody said like people resist anything that's difficult and pursue anything that's gratifying, and
Hmm.
you just got to be broken out of that, I guess.
That might be the Tao, which is, I think that's the best spiritual book.
I love Taoism.
Yeah, because the interesting thing about the Tao to me is that it's poems, it's stories. There's not really any dogma in there. It's not trying to tell you what to think. It's telling you a story so that you might gain from it. It's not asserting these are from God. It's not asserting, it's not qualifying the stories. It's just saying, look, I wrote some stories. If you want to read them, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. Next time I do a thing, whenever
Yeah.
I like to do it on, I like doing on morality. Just you do some touching up on the divine commands, natural law, and categorical comparative. And we can spend a lot of time just talking about that.
Is categorical imperative, that's Kant?
Yeah, yes, what's up. That's Manuel Kant.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
So
I will. I'll do some brushing up because morality is that's one of the most handy things right now for people to learn about is how do
yeah,
you know what's right or wrong and I can benefit from that.
no, I mean too. And this thing is, it's so relative these days. Like it's all relative art. Like no, it's not. But morality, man, I think people should really consider more often because I was telling my sister not knowing it's moral. And dude, people are so immoral. Like even the good people today are just I don't know, good by worldly standards. I know. It's like you stop your car to help somebody on the side of the road. So you stop to help them, but I'll say you selfish son of a bitch because you stop because it makes you feel better. People they're incapable of doing anything that is not self-serving. selfish by nature.
I agree with Epictetus, the hedonistic point where like the highest good is pleasure, but pleasure doesn't mean you can gain pleasure from stopping to help somebody else. You can also gain pleasure from murdering somebody. But
Oh yeah, so
to deny ourselves this pleasure and to say, no, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm just doing this just to feed the homeless. I fucking hate it and it makes me unhappy and I don't see any reward for it, even in heaven in the future. But I do it because I'm such a good person. People might even say that, but nobody fucking does it. I've never seen one person engage in that.
no, yeah, and that's when I was young. I used to think the only way around that is to do things out of duty. But then I realized then you're serving your own sense of duty. There's no way around it. Like everything you do is selfish.
That's good, dude. We're gonna have a lot of fun with that morality podcast because that's truly where it's at. These are some of the most important realizations or questions I've ever posed to myself.
Yeah, and just the thing is, people go to school. You can't legislate morality, arts. They don't teach it in school. I'm like, man, really, you just can't suggest to people the difference between right and wrong. Like I don't know. But yeah, I think if the whole world were to just take 10 minutes a week to consider just where the moral compass is set, I think the world would be a whole better place.
For sure. So Abraham Lincoln, 16th president of the United States, and the guy who managed the fake Civil War, whatever the hell the Civil War actually was, he said two things. He said the war, he's talking about the Civil War, would never have been possible without the sinister influence of the Jesuits. Then he also said, alas, oh no, this is Pope Clement. He said, alas, I knew they would poison me, but I did not expect to die in so slow and cruel a manner. And then also, Lincoln, I don't have the quote here, but he talked about if I'm killed, it's from a Jesuit assassin. He said Rome has the best assassins and they're dispatched all over the world.
Man. Yeah, man, it's like assassin by mail.
What's that? By mail?
Yeah, because back then they didn't have internet, you had to mail a letter. Like,
Oh, yeah. It's probably all coded too, and I'm fascinated. I like the symbology and the coding. For example, the Masons do some of the coolest hand signs. It's just cool to me that they like. I would like for us to have a truther hand sign. I've been trying to get people to collaborate and come up with one so that we can identify each other.
Well, remember what Adolf Hitler did to his hand in the air? I like that one.
I'd be down with that, but I'm not sure who else would.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I've seen the flat Earth thing where people put their hand out like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's tight. That's tight. That's an alright one.
So it's kind of stupid after a while, but yeah, a little hand sign, yeah, because I know somebody like I was saying who said that their friend was a Mason and the car broke down one time and they got out of the car and they started throwing up hand signs until somebody stopped to help them.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can do the sign of distress is like this, and then it's also like this, or it might be the left hand, I'm not sure. But
yeah.
And then the master of the second veil is like that. If you have a coat, you tuck it in. But that I know somebody who's a Mason, and his great grandfather was also a Mason, and he told my friend a story that had been relayed to him that he trusted, that in the Civil War, because he had met somebody that did fight in the Civil War, and he said that guy told him that he was shot, bleeding out, and he's lying in a ditch, and he's in there with a bunch of dead bodies, and all these soldiers are coming, and they got bayonets, and they're shooting people, and then the guy came up to him, and he was doing the Masonic sign of distress, and he was like, here, and then he gave him some water and some whiskey and a ration, and he put a blanket over him, and he was like, we'll be gone in like 20 minutes, so just chill out here, don't move. And I mean, if we could do that, if we could do that as normal humans, just that's one of the things that is desirable about these secret societies. I see that they have like a brotherhood, a fellowship that common people just they don't have for me or each other.
No, yeah, it's because I know, the keys to liberation, which they're liberated, is solidarity, unity, cultural synthesis, Paulo Freire. But they keep us divided and, in cultural division. So, that's the key, my man. Like in the Bible, talks about, citizens of the kingdom. The kingdom is not here or there, but, you can tell a citizen by the kingdom of their culture. Like you can tell a Mexican no matter what color he is. That dude's Mexican. How do you know? Like, it's culturally Mexican. So that's the problem with the United States is that we got so much cultural invasion. Not to be racist, not to be anything yelled at or censored, but the black culture, right? Lil Wayne, I don't know any rappers, but that's horrible culture. Just to quote some rap lyrics, I'm gonna fuck the white woman's vagina and impregnate her and I don't know, do some drugs.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so culturally speaking, this is all bad, all right? So I grew up in the '90s watching Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah.
That's good culture. That's beautiful. That's amazing.
It was. And I talked about this on Facebook, and I got some seriously just bass backwards replies, but I said,
Yeah.
should we practice and encourage multiculturalism in the United States? And I said, for example, Muslims seem like nice people to me, most of the ones I've met, but I said their book basically says that we're trash and they can kill us.
Yeah. Evil ethnocentric bullshit. Nothing shoved up there. Even the good Muslims. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Yeah. Then people came and they tried, no, the Quran's not about that. No, you're taking it out of context. I'm like, are you guys fucking kidding me? Have you read this book? Why would you say that?
Yeah, I've actually read the Quran while I was in prison because I had the opportunity to. It's fucking great. And after just reading, the first 6 surahs, you reach it like, you as a Muslim, you're gonna step onto land you don't own, take it by force. You as a Muslim, kill the infidel, don't kill him in the church, kill him. Like what? Like,
Yeah.
and then
It's
some
some
other.
it's some next level, but just bullshit. It's like and then let me see if I can find this. It's a quote by Albert Pike, And he says straight up in there, he says, we created the Muslims in order to destroy Christianity. And after that,
nobody will hear you though. No one's gonna listen to you. That never happened. Prove it. Oh, here's the text, and I hear you, man. It just kills me that people, won't listen. We're at war, people. We need to cooperate. We need to have a little cultural synthesis, and white people are not the enemy.
yeah, this is what he said. He said, we control Islam and we'll use it to destroy the West. After Islam is used for its purpose, it will be done away with to make way for the religious system of pure Luciferianism. All Muslims will partake in the new system and worship Lucifer. I'm not sure if he said that second part, but he for sure wrote down, we control Islam and we'll use it to destroy the West. This is the same guy.
That's published, right? That's
Yeah.
text public.
Oh yeah.
So can be refuted. Can be like, no, that never happened. I don't believe it. All right.
But people still will.
Straight from the horse's mouth, people. In print by somebody who has credibility. Albert Pike.
Yeah.
That guy's bad.
He predicted the first 3 world wars.
Yeah, so there's 2 down, 1 to come.
Well, yeah, the first 3. It's funny because that's the programming that's been instilled in me, is that there's another war coming and there'll probably be another one after that. Like, they try to teach us that humans, or that we should view ourselves as so immoral that we need people to handle us and tell us what to do. We need people to.
By that.
Neither do I.
If we taught morality, it'd be good, but we don't. We let the government just, I don't know. It is bullshit, my man. I smell it. It's all over the place. And it kills me because people don't care. It's okay to be gay, or no, it's not. It's I don't have a problem with gay people, but it is a genetic mutation. That is corruption. That is perversion, by definition. But people don't want to hear it. So if there's any gay people out there listening, dude, I'm down with you. You're cool, this.
But you're just making a statement of your understanding. You're saying, as far as I can tell, this is a genetic mutation, so we shouldn't be saying that genetic mutations are a good thing. If it makes it harder for people, people talk about how much adversity they go through being gay, or especially being transsexual. Well, then why should we be, if this is something that's caused or that is congruent with a hormonal imbalance, why should we be applauding this?
Absolutely. People, Buddha said people tend to avoid things that are difficult, and just, like I said earlier, Buddha said people are attracted to anything gratifying. I like the Buddha. You ever trip out on Buddhism?
Oh, big time, dude. I'm really fascinated with their practices. I'm not very good at meditation. I need to practice it more. However, I can see that they attain a greater degree of peace through embracing suffering than other religious people. I don't see anyone that's more chill than a Buddhist.
No, and what kills me is when Christians are like, Buddhists are going to hell, and everybody's not a Christian. Even though the Bible doesn't say that at all. But as a matter of fact, it says when the apostles ran up to Jesus, hey Jesus, Messiah, this guy was teaching in your name. Should we go beat him up? And he was like, no, be chill, man. If he's teaching what I'm teaching, he's not against us, he's for us, you know. And then in Acts chapter, what was it, chapter 2, 12 or something, he was saying, Paul said, for anybody who doesn't have the law by nature, but for anybody who doesn't have the law, practices it by nature, you'll be judged righteous in the eyes of the Creator. But anyways, I'm paraphrasing, but the law meaning Ten Commandments. And just while we're on the air, I want to throw in there, when Paul talks about we're not under the law, he's talking about the Talmudic law, which people know nothing about.
Oh, he's not talking about the Old Covenant?
No, not at all. See, the Talmudic law is what the Messiah was so against, and big misconception. And of course, they don't teach that in school. They teach people we're not under the Mosaic law no more, which I disagree based on my investigations. We're still under the Ten Commandments, the moral law. So as far as the ceremonial, sacrificial, and Talmudic law, that's been done away with. So when you say Mosaic law, there's the ceremonial law, the sacrificial law, and the moral law. And Paul is very bipolar. We're under the law. We're not under the law. We're under the law. We're not under the law. So people as believers have to be able to distinguish what he's talking about.
Discernment.
Thank you, discernment. And I just throw it all into one category. We can do whatever we want.
Right. That to me, I'm really glad you told me that, simply because I never knew that was about Talmudic law, and this was one of my biggest beefs with the Bible is hellfire. But my biggest one is that the central doctrine of salvation through grace, of not needing to be in accordance with any law other than having raised your hand and RSVP'd saying, oh, there's a party in heaven, cool, I want to go. It is morally corrupting by nature. By nature, you will, if you give people the opportunity to fuck up and tell them, hey guys, you can fuck up, basically you can do whatever you want, they will fuck up, dude.
Oh, yeah. They're going to do the least they can do to get the most they can get. And then, so the guy came up to the Messiah and was like, hey, buddy, how do I get to heaven? And, the Messiah was like, oh, you're a rich guy. Go sell it, go give away everything you own, and you'll get to heaven. And the dude walked away all pissed off. Well, of course, that just retarded to me. What he was saying in the substrata of what he was actually saying, what he's implying was, if you ask me, do the most you can do, don't do the least you can do. Right? That's how you get to heaven. Do the most you can do for people. And so to back that up, in James, I think, or in 1 John, he says, there's no greater love than for man to give his life for a friend. He's telling people to do the most you can do for people, and don't do the least you can do.
Right.
And I think that's a big pillar of early church Christianity, or Nazarene, whatever.
Absolutely. So is that similar to the categorical imperative? Because I'm not sure if that's a categorical imperative, but there is a philosopher or several who have said that if Magic Johnson is born, we shouldn't pay him $10 million a year to play the game. He is 7 feet tall. He has like a 48-inch arm span or something. There's no way we shouldn't be rewarding people who are highly, highly moral and naturally good already. We shouldn't be giving them as all these extra things that they can then use, and all they're doing is being rewarded for something that they tried 10 times less hard than the next guy to get, and that next guy then will never give him the same wage or anywhere near it because he wasn't born like that. I like that idea.
Yeah, totally agree with that. But you said, is it like the categorical imperative? And kind of, but no, because categorical imperative is you should never act on something if it wasn't okay for everybody else to do. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you're about to steal a banana because you're hungry, would it be okay for everyone to steal because they're hungry? And the answer is no. So the answer is no, you shouldn't steal it. But you know, as far as Manuel Kant goes, you should only do things if it's okay if everyone did it. Is the simplest way to put it. As far as trying to figure out what's moral and immoral, like
That
stealing.
makes a lot of things immoral.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheating on your girlfriend,
Right.
wife, whatever. Stealing. Like, dude, would that be okay for other people to do it? No, so it's not okay for you to do it. But that was the intellectual basis of morality. Using your mind to figure out what's moral, what's immoral. Because before that, you have divine commands and the natural law, which the natural law basically came from the divine commands. We get morality from nature by observing the basic goods of nature, which God made a certain way anyway.
That's written. Yeah, it's written it's written on our hearts. It's written in the sky by God. When people tell me about subjective morality, I'm like, that's the height of intellectual ignorance. That's right up there with atheism. That's saying that, oh no, well, God didn't whisper it in my ear directly and say it at 110 decibels. So I must just be able to do whatever the fuck I want, and I'm not doing anything bad because there is nothing bad. If it's okay where I'm at, it must be okay in America too.
Yeah. I don't know. I think about this stuff a lot. And it's tough because so me, I got hurt. I'm grounded a little bit. I'm doing more and more, but I have a lot more free time than I used to, or a lot more free time than the average person. So I could just sit around and contemplate shit.
Yeah.
But my friends and family are like, Art, we don't have time to look into that and just dwell on that like you do. And I don't know. As far as them being unhealthy, as far as them being moral people, they're busy, they have lives, they don't care. And I get that, I get that because at one time I was right there with them, but I don't know. It's just fun to talk about when you can. So, like right now.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So here, I got one more quote about the Jesuits, and then I think we're possibly past an hour. But okay, and I think this is a good one to end on because this is how I feel about the Society of Jesus. I feel truly like this guy summed it up. He's trying to inspire us to do the right thing, the godly thing, the righteous thing. The Society of Jesus, i.e., the Jesuit order, is the enemy of man. The whole human race should unite for its overthrow, for there is no alternative between its total extirpation and the absolute corruption and degradation of mankind. And that's Robert J. Breckenridge. He's an author. I mean, why would highly educated people say this shit if it wasn't true? And it's, I mean, it's anytime we talk about the real religious mafia bad guys, it's it's like you have to put in the most narrow search terms in order to find anybody else talking about this. And YouTube got scrubbed many, I don't know, about like 3 or 4 years ago, really bad. It's just we're in a huge state of data loss now where there was all of these things that we could access, and some of the most important information I've ever come across, it disappears within like 24 hours.
Yeah, and I used to love YouTube because I found so much good stuff, and then I used to do flat Earth searches, just bam, 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 hit, good stuff. Now I look for it's all censored, man. Is the only way to put it. They are censoring us, and I don't like that.
No, me either. Me either. And that's why we're gonna make the BitChute channel too. And guys, keep an eye out. I'll be letting you know when we're gonna start it. And there we can talk about what we want to. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
that's awesome.
it's on the way. All right, Arturios, is there anything that you would like to plug or anything you want to say before I let you go?
Yeah, get a hold of Rob Skiba. Journeys and see if they'll do a show.
I will. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I will. That's cool. And we could if they'll do it, then I'll get you on. Yeah, if they'll do it, then I'll get you on. We
Yeah,
can we
3, 4, whatever. But yeah, we'll talk about whenever.
cool.
I see you, dude.
All right, look forward to it. Take it easy.
Hit my love.